Okay ladies, now I want to just show you what you can do. Obviously I was telling you with the bag you can use cotton duck. So I found a couple of pieces of cotton duck and I'd like to make a bag, but it's not wide enough. So I'm going to join two pieces of cotton duck together to make a bag. So I've cut them the same width, but the length is too small for a bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to join this length together. So I'm sewing across the widest part of the bag. And I'm just going to sew these together and press my seam. And I found a really cool ribbon to use for my bag. And because I haven't got enough fabric to make the handles, I'm going to use webbing. Alright. And you could do stitches all over this bag, you could do all sorts of things. So I'm just going to open up my bag and I'm actually going to press my seam one way because I'm going to top stitch it to make it really strong. Because with the duck, it's a very firm fabric and you could put a lot more weight into your bag. So I'm going to now, I've put both my seams one way and I'm actually going to top stitch this, but I'm going to use my ordinary foot and then move my knee position to the left. And I'm just going to top stitch down my seam and make it nice and strong. Okay? So let's put a lot of strength into this bag so it's a good strong bag. Because sometimes when you go to the farmer's market you want to buy potatoes and they're really heavy. But I found a nut ribbon and I'm going to use that as my embellishment through the middle. So I think it looks awesome. So I'm just going to sit this down and I'm going to line up my nut ribbon, which is so cute. I'll just pin there and bring this down and pin here. Make sure it's straight will be quite good. And double check it's straight because you really don't want it looking crooked when you've made your bag. So I can use my ruler and measure down here and it's 8.3 quarters and then measure down here 8.3 quarters. So I've got a pretty good eye. Okay, so I'll put another pin here just to hold that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edge stitch down this side and edge stitch down that side and that's going to be enough to hold my ribbon. Now on the end here, that ribbon's going to fray because it's nylon. So I'm going to trim that ribbon first, like that, so it's nice and even. And I don't want that ribbon to fray out because I'll probably wash the bag. And I'm going to use this product called Fray Check. And it's a clear glue. And I'm just going to fray check the end. So when that dries, it will dry hard. And it bleeds into the ribbon and oh, I missed a bit. It's quite good because you can see it in the light. Then I'm going to trim this end off and I'm going to put some clear glue on this end as well. Just leave it for a couple of minutes to dry and that will never ever fray. So it's called Fray Check. It's brilliant, and as long as you keep that lid screwed on it won't dry out or anything like the old ones used to. There's another one called Fray Stop, but it doesn't dry as clear, so I prefer the Fray Check. Alright? Okay, now, so I'm going to top stitch that. So I'm going to put back on my edge stitch foot. Because you know I love it, I can't help myself, number 10. And I'm going to push my clear button so that now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle position to the left so that it's preset how I want it. So I'll do 2 clicks to the left this time instead of 3. Make sure that's dry. It's not quite, so I'm a bit naughty, but wait till yours is dry. And I've got 2 clicks to the left instead of 3. Now I'm using cream thread so you can see that my stitching line is going to be nice and even. And it's only because of the foot. So you're guiding the foot up against the little bar on the foot. And that's how it makes it so beautiful and straight. And give you such a perfect top stitch. I love it, absolutely love it. So please wait till it dries because you might get a bit of sticky on your machine. I don't really have the oh, why did I do that? I keep forgetting I've got it on lock off mode. Okay, then turn it round and I'm going to go back down the other side. So I can push my knot off button. Sometimes you forget you've got these wonderful things on your machine. I love this ribbon. Comes in 3 different widths. Very nice. This is the widest. And it'll wash like a rag. It's just nylon. And I'll just lock that off. Okay, so with this bag, this is going to be the height of my bag. And again, overlock the side, overlock the side. Press the top down, press the top down. So you're going to have a bag that's going to look like this. Decide on the base, because this one's going to be a bit deeper, the depth of the base. But instead of using the fabric, I've gone and got some very strong, heavy webbing, and I have cut this 5 inches off the end of my webbing, and I have fray checked this end, fray checked this end, fray checked this end, and fray checked this end. Now if I hadn't have done that, this would fray out. If you don't have any fray check, you can burn webbing. Okay, but this is a cotton webbing, so I really needed the fray check for it. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go down the sides and I can overlock mine later because we won't have time to show you everything otherwise. So I'm just going to put my right side, oh, remember to turn your double fold at the top over for your top edge so it's all done, you don't have to worry about it. So I don't really need to show you it again, so I'll just quickly show you. You do exactly the same thing with your webbing as long as you fray check it. So remember, right sides together, fold your bag up and then stitch your seam exactly the same. If you wanted to also, the other thing you could do is you could actually use pinking shears on your side seams. I might do that. So you want to just line up your ribbon. That's the main thing you need to do. Line up your ribbon, put a pin in there. Actually, Robin, you should have done that before you started. One moment, please. Before you start, you should line up this ribbon and make sure that that's nice and even. Just in case this wasn't cut. There's proof why you should. This has not been squared off, this piece of fabric, so I'm going to have to square it off now. Here we go. So what I did, I pinned my ribbon. My base is perfect, but it hasn't been squared off at the top. So I'm going to open that back out and I'm going to use my cutter and I'm going to square off that top edge. Okay, so I'll turn it this way, get my cutter. So there's proof that you must make sure that your bits of fabric are square, because these are just scraps I had left over, you see. Here we go. Now we're all good. So I had to take off quite a bit. I've still got my folded edge, which is enough for me to work with. So now I can start there. Oh, I need to take off a little bit more. It's out by about 2 millimeters. And that won't work. You really do have to start with things nice and square and you don't have a problem. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Okay, that looks better. Quite fussy with my things like that. So I'm going to leave my needle position to the left and I'm just going to run my foot along the edge. That's going to make it nice and easy. And this time I'm going to take in a really big base. So it's a fat bag. Just shows you how different they can look by just using a little bit of imagination and doing something a little bit different. Because at the moment it's a very long skinny bag. Always forget I've got my locking off function. It's pretty funny. So remember, open out, you've got your halfway mark, put a crease mark, open out your bag, put the crease to the fold line. So you're going to see quite a different bag this time. Sew across the bottom of your bag, and I'll actually show you something a little bit different with this one. Forgot again. It is Saturday afternoon. That's why the brain starts fading. Put your hand up inside your bag, and remember you've got that nice crease line there to follow. And then bring your bag out, because you're going to make a nice fat bag this time. Press your bag, and this time I'm going to press it, and I'm going to do a really, really deep pocket. So on my chaco liner, and my trusty sewing gauge, I'm going to go right out quite deep. I'm going to go to 7. Let's try 7. 7 centimeters from the point to the base of my bag. 7 centimeters. That's a deep bag. Okay, so there's my depth I'm going to do this time, and I'll sew one side at a time so you can fully see what I'm doing. All clear, because I'm on left needle position, or else my stitch won't go where my line is. I'm not overlocking this one because lack of time, you can't really watch me do that. Put your hand back up for this one, fold it down, get your triangle. Remember you've got your triangle here, make sure everything sits nice and flat so you know you're doing it square, and measure down your 7 centimeters from this end. Quite fun. You really are going to make these. They are absolutely brilliant, and you can do rows of fancy stitching on them. You can do all sorts of things. Okay, so now I've got like railroad tracks there. So this is my base here, this is my base here. We're now going to sew that one. Okay. And this time I will remember I've got a lock off function. Cool. So there's my very large base. I like it. And sometimes I've been known to make my bag strong is to fold that in there and put a stitch through there like that, but only if you need a lot more strength in the base of your bag. So here's my bag. Very cute. Very, very cute. So now I've got my double fold here, and I'm going to put my little handles on, so you know how to do it. But this time I'll just show you with one so you can see. Press my seam, tuck it under, and this time it's just webbing, but you do exactly the same method. So pop it up and under, and it's very, very thick. You may need to put a jeans denim 90 needle on, because you're going through 3 layers of fabric and 2 layers of webbing. Okay, so you may need to put a thicker needle on. So again, fold it, oops, and to there, and fold it up. Okay, so you're going to end up with a cute little bag. It's going to be long. Actually, this would be perfect for my bread. I brought ciabatta bread. It would fit in there perfectly today. And then the other handles on the other side. So I won't bore you with showing you how to straight stitch that and top stitch it, but exactly the same method. I think it's awesome. So that's all I've done for this bag. And that's got the handles out of webbing as well, so it's very, very, very strong. Okay, now I'd like to show you my bag here. This was a design by Nina McVeigh, and I have sent you the instructions. I just want to show you one thing on it, okay? So this bag we're going to be doing classes. So if you'd like to do a class, please contact me. I will be doing it with my 7 and 8 series ladies, but if you'd like to do it, I'm happy to do it with you as well. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try freehand stitching using zigzag. And that's what I've done on my flower. Right round the edge of my flower here, I have zigzagged it with freehand. And you can use your Bernina stitch regulator, or you can just do it with your ordinary sewing machine and your darning foot. Okay, so I'm going to put black in my bobbin because I want to show you. You may need to change your tension if your bobbin thread comes up. So I'll just put a black on there, and then if you see it popping up, I can show you how to fix that. So if you've got a bobbin case that's got like that little eye in the bobbin, I want you to thread the little eye. These new machines don't have an eye, they just thread through here, but it's not like tightening of the tension. So what we need to do, if we're using standard metricine in the bobbin and we've got a fine embroidery thread, which I've got this pretty variegated, we need to bring the top tension tighter. So we go to a lower number. So my tension's set on 5 and I need to take it down to about 3.5 so that it will not let the bobbin thread come up. Okay? And I'm going to firstly just show you with your ordinary darning foot, which is foot number 9. Okay? Standard darning foot, it's got a little jumping mechanism. And some of you ladies will have a walking foot, a BSR foot, and the feet are identical. Okay? So the feet are identical. Using this Bernina stitch regulator, it regulates the length of your stitch, whereas this one, you can't control the length of your stitch except by you controlling it by how fast you move it. So I'm going to show you this right now, but the class when I teach it is using the Bernina stitch regulator if you have one. Okay? So I'm going to pop this on, and I will just thread up my little thread. These automatic needle threaders are awesome. And I will get a bit of felt. Here we go. So I've got a piece of tearaway, I've got a piece of felt, and then I've cut out a weird shaped something. I'm not sure what it is. Looks a bit like a starfish gone wrong. Normally I would fuse this on, but I just want to show you what you do with freehand using your zigzag stitch. So you drop your feed dogs down on the side of your machine, put your machine onto zigzag, and your width about 5. So your width of your stitch is on about 5. There will be no length of your stitch because you have got it on freehand. Now what happens when you sew, bring the bobbin thread up first, but what happens when you sew zigzag sideways, you get a straight line. So if you watch here, bring the bobbin thread up so both threads are sitting on top of the work, and you watch, when I sew zigzag and go sideways, I end up with a bit of a straight line. When I go backwards, I end up with a zigzag going backwards. And so that is not going to work to go around a flower. Okay? So what you need to do, sit your fabric there, turn it on a 45-degree angle, and you can go around your curves and do your points beautifully. So the way you do it is make sure your shoulders are back so you're not hunched over, and sit your hands here, use gloves if you like, and you are going to move your machine forwards, your machine side. Oh, my bobbin's running out. I haven't closed my door. You're going to move your fabric, sideways and backwards and fill in over the edge, and go over more if you want to see it more. See how I'm going over the edge of my fabric, but I'm on that 45-degree angle. And what I normally do is I go over it once and then I go over it a second time. So what's happening is, I'll just go back over this a second time to show you. Okay, you're getting a beautiful edge there. Now I'm just going to show you on this one. So if I want to go up this way, if I turn my work 90 degrees, if I then turn it again, it will be facing the wrong way. So I've got to come right around. I always have to think about it when I do it. And I want to come to here because I want to sew out this way. See how I've had to turn that on an angle? So you've really got to stop and think when you're doing this so you don't end up with your zigzags going the wrong way. I think it's most effective. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like singly, there, and then I'm going to come around here. I go around my whole thing once and then I do it the second time, by the way. Now I've gone round once and then I go back and I go over it a second time and it gives a beautiful finish. It makes it a lot more interesting. This would be very fun if you're doing a tiger or a cat or a hedgehog. You'll get a really, really nice finish on the edge of an animal. And then come round. Good fun. So look how effective it is by doing zigzag. I love it, absolutely love it. So have a little bit of a play with your machine. Any single machine that can straight sew and zigzag can do freehand stitching. I think it's an effective way of doing your appliques, and all the rest that I've done has been with straight stitch. Okay, so please have a look at the notes. Decide if that's something you'd really, really like to do, and please contact me if you'd like to do a class, because I'm more than happy to come and do the class with you, because I think this is a lot of fun. And I've worked out with the lining, and I've done a little zip inside my bag as well, with the lining and all the fabrics, it's only going to cost you $21 with your discount. So it's a lot of fun, and that's including the zips. So if it's something you're interested, please contact me, but I have sent you all the notes and you can do it at home yourselves or with a group of friends. All right, so I will see you in September, which is going to roll around just as fast as August did. Have a nice month. Bye.